From San Diego, Mr. Peters. I think it's no small thing that you're here today. And I think it's no small thing that you've been to Houston and into many places to understand this from our perspective. And I just really compliment you on that. And I would say to all of us, to the extent that we heed his thoughts about methane, really that helps fossil fuels be viable into the future, and helps with the argument that we want to replace our adversaries' foreign fuels with U.S. foreign fuels. So my staff will tell you, Mr. Peters, that roll their eyes when I talk about methane because they know that I want to do something. I want to join you in that effort. So thank you for bringing that up today. Mayor Blanc, you and I met just briefly, but we share some things in common. I was a mayor of Provo City, some of the happiest years of my life being a mayor. I think that's a really important position that you hold. And in my congressional role, I too represent many people who derive their income, their livelihoods from oil and gas, and in my case, actually coal as well. And I'd like to focus on a couple of your comments that were in your testimony. You said the messages, virtual signaling, and the rhetoric that have come from the federal level tell us oil and gas is evil, or not on the side of average American or on the side of the care of our environment. And then you made a very, very bold statement. Our Permian advances in science, engineering, methods, and processings have yielded the safest, most environmentally responsible barrel of oil in the world. A barrel of oil produced in the Permian Basin is the greenest barrel of oil produced in the world. And then in your testimony, you used the word vilify. So can you tell me why you and your constituents feel that your way of life are vilified?
As to why it's vilified, I'm not sure that I can speak to that, but I would like to address that absolutely. I think that there's a large lack of understanding in our nation and in our world for what oil and gas professionals really do, and for the care that we give to making sure that we're doing it in the most economically viable but also environmentally friendly way. Our families live here. My children are going to bed at night just not very far away from the closest drilling operation. We can see it from our house, from our street. And so we care a lot about that. We're incented locally to invest our time and our money and our efforts into making sure that we're doing this well. And so I think that's a really important thing to consider. So
is it fair, and some of this I'm projecting for my constituents in Utah, is it fair to say that they're disturbed when they hear and they see the shutting down of U.S. fossil fuels here in the United States, and then they hear the messages to Iran, to Venezuela, to Russia to produce more?
Yes.
Can you just explain how that makes them feel?
Well, absolutely, and I think that is you're exactly right. We're watching a national push to some of these other basins around the world where we do not have friendly relationships with their governments. We know that they don't have our best interests at heart, and they're producing a dirtier barrel of oil than what we are. And so we are able to do the job that the community around us needs us to do, the nation needs us to do, and the world needs us to do, but we're facing our strongest headwinds from our own federal government.
So you mentioned you could see the rigs and things like that. You mentioned you're a mother of three. Can we assume that you care deeply about your children's future and about the earth that they inherit,
Yes,
and you
absolutely.
do care about these environmental issues? And not just you, but the people that you represent. And could you speak to that for a minute? I call Utahns the best environmentalists in the world. I don't know about your constituents. Mine hate to be called environmentalists. But can you speak to that for a minute?
That's absolutely true. As a mother and as a person who's lived here for, now I'm the second generation, as I said, raising the third generation here in our community. I'll also tell you that some of the oil and gas companies in the Permian Basin are doing more to advance beneficial reuse, water recycling operations, and the technologies associated with that than anyone else anywhere in the world. And so we're advancing those technologies right here.
Thank you. Mr. Pruitt, I want to just quickly turn to you. I believe when we go to the year, let's say hypothetically 2050, and we see what energy sources we're really using, there are going to be 4 variables that determine what we'll use: reliability, affordability, safety, and clean. Can you speak for those in the room today? Are you prepared to compete with fossil fuels in all of those, including the clean area, moving forward?
Absolutely. Look, we produce into closed systems, as Mayor Blanc said. We're drinking the water from aquifers from which our wells drill through. So we're on that path. I think a big part of the challenge for our industry is having you all here and having people see it to believe it, that we are good stewards of the land. And so I do think representing thousands of smaller independents, we've got to pull some of the older practices to the modern practices that we employ, since all of our facilities are less than 10 years old.
I'm going to cut you off because I'm out of time. And Chairman,
That'll be the key, is
Chairman's
to bring
gonna
up
cut me
the
off.
laggards to the highest standards,
Yeah.
and we'll be competitive.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I yield my time.
I thank the gentleman, and as